Hello, this is the 283rd edition of Catch of the Day, available on the Branch Talk YouTube channel. Today we're going to continue reading from a book written by Trent Wilde entitled The King of Crisis in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Starting midway on page 45, we read Hosea 12. After the hopeful declarations about the preservation of at least a part of Israel, and of the return of those with the lion listening ears, the prophetic pen snaps back to the then current reality. Ephraim herds the wind and pursues the east wind all day long. They multiply falsehood and violence. They make a treaty with Assyria, and oil is carried to Egypt. The Lord has an indictment against Judah, and will punish Jacob according to his ways, and repay him according to his deeds. Hosea 12, 1 and 2. NRSV. Hosea once again pointed to the sad condition of Israel in the eyes of God. He then described how they were wicked from the earliest days and had continued to be, 12, verse 3 to 8, after referencing the need for a second Exodus again, 12, verse 9. As described in the previous chapter, he said, I spoke to the prophets, it was I who multiplied visions, and through the prophets I will bring destruction. By a prophet the Lord brought Israel out of Egypt, and by a prophet he was guarded. Hosea 12, verse 10 and 13, NRSV. As Seventh-day Adventists, we are familiar with these verses, but I think we can now see the fuller context. Hosea's point isn't simply God uses prophets. Hosea is saying we should have no king. We need to be led by God through a prophet. Notice how God is emphasizing his own part and the part of a prophet. I spoke to the prophets. It was I who multiplied visions, and through the prophets I will bring destruction. See 6 verse 5. By a prophet the Lord brought Israel out of Egypt, and by a prophet he was guarded. The repetition should not be missed. Hosea really wanted to make sure his audience didn't miss the fact that prophetic theocracy is God's appointed form of government. Hosea 13. This chapter continues to address Israel's sin, and consequently her imminent destruction. In keeping with the theme of Hosea's message, kingship is part of the picture. I will destroy you, O Israel. Who can help you? Where now is your king, that he may save you? Where in all your cities are your rulers, of whom you said, Give me a king and rulers? I gave you a king in my anger, and I took him away in my wrath. Hosea 13, verse 9 to 11, NRSV. In light of what we have already gone through, the message of these verses is clear, isn't it? Hosea 14. The book of Hosea ends with a plea for Israel to return to God with confession, repentance, and an acknowledgement of God's mercy. If these conditions are met, God's promise is, well, Hosea expressed it so beautifully. You can read it for yourself. Return, O Israel, to the Lord your God, for you have stumbled because of your iniquity. Take words with you and return to the Lord. Say to him, Take away all guilt, accept that which is good, and we will offer the fruit of our lips. Assyria shall not save us. We will not ride upon horses. We will say no more, Our God, to the work of our hands. In you the orphan finds mercy. I will heal their disloyalty. I will love them freely, for my anger has turned from them. I will be like the dew of Israel. He shall blossom like the lily. He shall strike root like the forest of Lebanon. His shoots shall spread out. His beauty shall be like the olive tree, and his fragrance like that of Lebanon. They shall again live beneath my shadow. They shall flourish as a garden. They shall blossom like the vine. Their fragrance shall be like the wine of Lebanon. O Ephraim, what have I to do with idols? It is I who answer and look after you. I am like an evergreen cypress. Your faithfulness comes from me. Those who are wise understand these things. Those who are discerning know them. For the ways of the Lord are right, and the upright walk in them, but transgressors stumble in them. Hosea 14, 1-9, NRSV. Summary of Hosea's message. Much more could be said about Hosea and his message than what has been said here. Still, our overview has revealed a lot. Before we go out into examining the contents of Hosea, I mentioned the importance of studying Hosea's message for what it is. We have all accepted the book of Hosea simply because it is in the Bible, all the while being ignorant of its teachings. The only honest thing to do is to find out what Hosea actually taught, and then to take those teachings seriously. This demands for us to allow Hosea to maintain his own integrity by not interpreting it to mean something other than what its author meant. So what was Hosea's message? Hosea delivered his message at a time which we, in retrospect, can identify as the tail end of the Israelite monarchy. He prophesied concerning the end of the monarchy and of the kingdom of Israel. Hosea did not teach that the monarchic government was a good thing, but that due to wickedness, the blessings of monarchy had to be removed. No, on contrary, he taught that the monarchic system was bad from the start. In demanding a monarchy, Israel had rejected God, and God was passionately displeased by this. Furthermore, Hosea did not say the monarchic system is bad, period. No, he actually had another system which he contrasted with the monarchic one, and which he was evidently burdened that his fellow Israelites should adopt. The system he advocated was prophetic theocracy, such as operated in the days of Samuel and Moses. He had reasons for this as well. He didn't argue that prophets had better personalities than kings, or that they were nicer or smarter, or had better policies, or that they came first and what's older is better. No. Hosea's contention is that under a prophetic theocracy, God is ruling. Take care.